Hi, Gary Earl from Music City Online here with Lauren Danzy of SoundExchange.com. Now, all of you artists out there, all of you songwriters, all of you musicians, if you're not registered and if you don't know about Sound Exchange, you need to be. You are missing money that's yours. I just heard an hour of this great speaker, Lauren, and I'm going to ask her to give us a short 5-minute explanation of what the Sound Exchange is and why you should be signed up.
I love that intro. Why you should be signed up. That's what we're going to focus on.
Exactly.
So, as you said, I'm Lauren Danzy. I'm working with Sound Exchange. I have been for quite some time, and I want to tell you a little bit, give you the basics of who we are, what we do, why it's important to you and your career as a musician. Sound Exchange is a nonprofit, independent, collective management organization, and we collect and distribute digital performance royalties on behalf of recording artists and copyright holders. So basically the rights owners to the masters of a song.
And if I may interject, as I understand, you're a government charter. You are not a for-profit corporation.
Absolutely, we are not for profit. Exactly. The Copyright Office of the United States entrusted Sound Exchange with the right to administer the statutory license. And that's how we kind of got into this business.
Now, I know there are people out there thinking, well, I'm with ASCAP, I'm with BMI, I'm with CSAC, but the difference is that the Sound Exchange collects monies that are not collected by ASCAP, CSAC, BMI, right?
Let's talk about that, because really that is the backbone here about Sound Exchange. The thing that people seem to get really confused about. People come to me all the time and say, oh, I'm already registered with ASCAP or BMI or CSAC. I don't need Sound Exchange. Untrue statement. ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC are all performance rights organizations that are concerned with the music creator portion of yourself, that is the songwriter or composer. Sound Exchange is concerned with the portion of your body that is the performer or rights owner, the person who owns the masters to the song. So while CSAC, ASCAP, BMI are all collecting digital performances, remember they're only collecting royalties, your digital performance royalties for you as a songwriter. You've got to be also signed up with Sound Exchange if you're also the performer of a particular track, or if you own the masters to a particular track.
Lauren, how much money does Sound Exchange collect on behalf of artists and writers and musicians?
Very good question. So in the almost 15 years that Sound Exchange has been in existence, because we were incorporated in the year 2003, so it's been almost 15 years, we have distributed nearly $5 billion to artists and rights owners. Last year in 2016 alone, we distributed $884 million to artists and rights owners. And now through the first 6 months of 2017, we have distributed $339.5 million.
And where does that money come from? Who do you collect it from?
Sound Exchange collects these digital performance royalties from non-interactive digital radio services. Now, digital radio is considered 3 different types of services. We've got internet radio, like Pandora, iHeartRadio. There's a million other FM radio stations who simulcast online, so all of those are considered internet radio stations. That's the first platform. The second is satellite radio, so that's Sirius XM. Everybody knows them. And the third platform is cable TV radio. Cable TV are like the high-numbered stations on your television dial, like Comcast Music Choice. And the other cable providers also have platforms. I can't always remember the name of them, but Music Choice is a big one.
And since you are a non-profit group, virtually all the money goes back to artists, writers, musicians, except for administrative costs, right?
That is exactly right. We are a nonprofit, and a lot of people ask that question. Well, if you're a nonprofit, how are you able to keep the lights on at Sound Exchange, essentially? And what that is an admin rate. So we have a very, very low admin rate, actually the lowest in the industry. Most collective management organizations are operating off of an admin rate around the 15+% range, and we are around the 5+% range.
Wow.
So we're operating very, very lean. It's actually, for the amount of volume that we're handling, you would think that Sound Exchange was a huge, huge company, but really our staff is sitting right around the 200 range, And when I started at Sound Exchange almost 8 years ago, we had about 50 employees. So, but of course, digital radio has skyrocketed, so we needed to hire more people to be able to handle that volume, but yet we still haven't really gone past 200 much.
And you are located in Washington, D.C. because you are an advocate for
Musicians, music creators, absolutely. We do a lot of work on Capitol Hill on behalf of music creators. And so let's talk a little bit about that. Sound Exchange is an advocate for music creators. And to quote my president and CEO of Sound Exchange, Michael Huppy, he said, all creators should receive fair pay on all platforms and technology whenever music is played. And that's such a true statement. So what he means by that is exactly what he said. Whenever music is played, whether you're listening to it on AM/FM radio or digital radio, anywhere, you should be paid fairly as a music creator. And we constantly fight for that on Capitol Hill. One of our main bills that we have on Congress right now is called the Fair Play, Fair Pay Act. And it is fighting for a full performance right for sound recordings. Because actually, a lot of people don't realize this, but the United States is one of very few countries in the industrialized world that does not pay featured artists for their sound recordings when they are streamed, well, not streamed, but when they are played on AM/FM radio. So you do receive a royalty payment when your music is played or streamed on digital radio services, but those songs that are on AM/FM radio, artists don't ever see a dime.
Now, if our viewers want to get more information on Sound Exchange, where can they go?
SoundExchange.com is absolutely where they should go. You can find out anything you need to know, anything about these advocacy efforts that I talked about, but more importantly, you can go to SoundExchange.com to make sure you're registered to receive your digital royalties. Because while we're collecting all this money on behalf of rights owners and artists, we are only able to distribute it to you once you are registered. And I tell people all the time that registering for Sound Exchange is very much like applying for a job. You know, we need an identification from you. We need your tax forms. We need to know exactly what music you have performed on or which songs you own. All of this can be completed online at soundexchange.com. Very easy, and biggest thing is it's free. And one more thing, I would love for anybody who's registering for Sound Exchange to take that extra step to become a Sound Exchange member. It's also free, and it's really just an additional signature during the registration process. And once you become a member, Sound Exchange is able to not only collect for you domestically, but to collect your digital performances, digital royalties from foreign countries with whom we have reciprocal agreements with. And as of today, in 2017, we have 45 plus reciprocal agreements with a number of countries ranging from Japan to Jamaica, England, Spain, a lot of different countries.
And a portion also goes to musicians, backup singers that are on the track too, a smaller portion, of course.
5% of, well, I should just kind of backtrack and say the statutory license that Sound Exchange administers, it dictates that 50% of all royalties for a song will go directly to the rights owner or record label. 45% of those royalties for a particular song will go to the featured artist, and 5% of the royalties for a particular track will go to a fund administered by AFM, American Federation of Musicians, or SAG-AFTRA, and those royalties will be paid to backup session players and musicians.
They filmed your talk today, and I'd like all the listeners to be able to hear the entire thing to get a lot more information if they'd like. And I believe that's going to be on SahitiBaby.com.
Remember, SoundExchange.com is where you can go for all of your information in case I tripped up anywhere. I don't want to be held liable for that.
Terrific.
SoundExchange.com.
Don't put it off. Don't wait. This is your money, and it's sitting there waiting to be collected. Do it now.
Do it now. Get your money.
See you in the studio.